Hello YouTube, it's Carlos the Rook, and I wanted to share with you a game I played online. This is chess.com, and I played with 81.2% accuracy, and my opponent played with 72% accuracy. So we'll start the review. I'll start off with e4, and he goes e5, knight f3, and he goes bishop c5. So he blunders this e5 pawn out the door. I thought for a second because I was trying to make sure I didn't run into any traps or any tricks. So I went ahead and knight captures e5. Then he goes queen f6 hitting the knight. And the engine wants me to play d4 here and protect the knight. But I wanted my knight to fall back and then go d4. So I played knight f3. You see there is recommending d4 was a better move. And he plays d6 so he can develop his light square bishop. And I go h3 to prevent the pin on my knight. And once again, the engine wants d4. And he goes h6. I'm not sure why. My knight was not jumping into g5. So I go d4 now, hitting the bishop. The bishop guides the move. Bishop goes back to b6. And I go c3, solidifying my center. The engine wants bishop e3. So he goes knight c6, bringing his knight, a developing move. And I go bishop d3, developing my bishop, protecting the pawn, the e4 pawn, and preparing the castle king side. And he responds with g5. So he sees I want a castle king side, and his intentions is to stop me, to let me know that if I go that way, I'm going to get in trouble. So I'll go ahead with bishop e3, developing. And he pulls the pawn up. So I capture. He captured. Now he got the pin that I didn't want him to have. He has it now. And I bring the other knight in just to be able to capture back if he decides to capture the knight. So he brings his other knight out, developing. And I go queen c2. Now I can castle queen side. And I don't have to worry about the pin on the knight. And here he goes h5. I wasn't really sure what h5 accomplished, but the computer said they liked the choice. And now here I cross castle, but the chess.com engine wanted me to go a4 and hit a4, a5, beating at that bishop. And he goes a5. So I line a rook up to where the king is. And now he goes a4, so I guess his idea is a3 to beat open my queen side. And I just go a3 to stop it. And now he goes bishop a5. The engine wanted him to cross castle. And now I go e5. I'm willing to sacrifice a pawn in order to open up this file where his king is just sitting at. He takes, I take with the knight. He take with the knight, and now I take back with the pawn. And this pawn is free. He can take it with the queen. But if he does, my bishop is coming to d4, and I will skewer the queen and the rook. So I guess that means the pawn really isn't free. And he goes queen e6. The engine wanted him to go queen c6. And I go bishop c4. I just completely missed that I had this. Well, I did see that, but I figured he had to discover. Oh no, he don't, because the rook's not protected. So he can't discover me with the bishop. So now you go queen c6. And I go f3, hitting at that bishop. And I figure he'd go bishop f5. I just block with my bishop. Now he go bishop e6. And I see that bishop b3 is a move, so I'm keeping the knight here in order to stop that. And now I go bishop g5. My idea is just to try and trade some pieces off and get at this king. and he goes knight d5. So now the king can't castle. You don't want to castle king side because that side is open. And this bishop is stopping you from castling queen side, so your king is just sitting in the middle. So I go f4, and my idea is f5 to hit at the bishop. And he goes knight b6. And here I go f5. The bishop goes to c4. I take, he takes with the knight. And so here I'm down to 5 minutes. I decided to just take the knight off in order to simplify. The king is in the open position, and I just get at it with the queen and the rooks. So I take, he takes, and now I go e6, trying to open up the position. He goes f6. I capture on f6. Now I got connected passed pawns right in front of the king. And he goes rook f8. I hit at the queen. I just wanted the queen to move. And queen b3. I capture. He captured back. And I go bishop h4. That was just completely unnecessary. I just gave him one of my pawns and allowed a queen trade. I didn't have to do any of that. But I guess because I was in time trouble, I was down to 3 minutes. 3.5 minutes it looked like. He takes there. I bring a rook over to try and just pin a king in. He plays c6. And I go e7. The king moves out. And I move the rook to d7 just to protect this pawn. And my idea is to try and promote this pawn and get a piece for it. He brings the rook over the block. I can't drop the rook down because this dark square bishop protects that square. So I just take this pawn here and just leave the tension in the position. He checks. I figured he would. I could just step up. And he go here and hit the back pawn. All I had to do was just take. Rook captures b3. I see that easy as day. Rook captures b3. And he gets no counterplay. But I was down to 2.5 minutes here, so I went after the bishop. He takes, I move up. He sacks the bishop. I take that. So now I'm up a bishop and a bishop. He takes the pawn, and I check the king. He moves over, and I go down with the rook. He sacks the rook for the pawns. Check. He moves over. Check. Moves over again. Check this way. King b6. And here I wasn't really sure what the best move. Bishop f2 isn't available because the rook guards that. If I move this rook to check, he just come there and hits the rook. So I just stepped over with the king and took this pawn, get that off the board so he can't promote. It happened to be the best move. Rook g4, hitting the bishop. That allowed me to go bishop f2 now, checking the king. He steps over, hitting the rook. I just fade back with my rook. He brings rook over there to hit the bishop. I check. He hits the rook. The move here would maybe be rook e2, protect the bishop. That looks like a good idea. But what did I play? Hey, rook captures h5. Giving up the bishop. I move the rook right here to set up a checkmating pattern to walk the king down. He checks. I move the king over. Checks again. King up again. Now my idea is to walk my a pawn down. I check. He come there. Moving the pawn. Move his rook over. Stepping the king up to walk the pawn in. Now I put pressure on the pawns. I take his pawn, just getting rid of any ideas he has of promoting. And now I want to trade the rook. I'm up a rook and a pawn. I just want to trade the rook and go ahead and end the game. He doesn't trade, and he flags here. So, and on chess.com, I had dropped. I went from 1998 all the way down to like 1921.
I had the privilege of knowing him a bit. I didn't know him too well, but well, I have played twice against him in a rapid tournament in Wageningen, which was after his years in Amsterdam. He spent, I think, about the last 20 years of his life in
Oh my
in the
goodness.
eastern part of the country.